Hello, everyone. Casey here, jumping in before the episode to let you know that the Jesters have a live show performance coming up. On July 29th, we are going to be performing at Sip and Play in Brooklyn. The show starts at 7 p.m., and it's going to be run by the lovely Rachel Kordell, and it's titled The Last Wish. You can get your tickets down below in the description, or you can buy them at the door there. But we hope to see you there either way for this amazing live show performance.
It came from a land of brutality and evil. It came from terror and fear.
Calling me through the reeds, the wind sweeps, the waves bury me. Blood and dirt, flesh and rain, it's mud all the same. Before rivers, before bones, old like the marshlands, old like the marshlands, old like the marshlands when they heard their name.
Welcome back to Blood on the Reeds, everybody. Woo! That's all staying in. And
incredible.
This podcast is brought to you by Andrew Frost.
Hey, I'm Frostin' and I'm Bossin'. I play Vernon Hodges. I forgot I have to introduce my character as well. This all reminds me of a time back in D.C. that I had to watch a certain senator filibuster for 8 minutes about the most useless things. I think he talked about his socks for a little bit. And 8 minutes doesn't seem like a lot in the long term, but
it really is.
As this intro goes longer, it's only less than a minute, and it seems very long.
I guess that's true.
That is very true.
It's like a normal speech.
It really is. It's a really bad filibuster. Not for the Gen Z senators that we're going to have who have ADHD and can't possibly stay on topic for that long.
They've got a guy juggling next to him for the ADHD senators. It's the original Subway Surfer for them. Speaking of Subway Surfer, Casey Reardon.
I play Elmer Fink, and I don't quite know what that means, but when you harvest apples from a tree, at least leave one to keep the devil away.
And that apple sure doesn't fall too far away, because it's Nate Brass.
What's up, Internet? I played Chet. Ooh.
Good energy.
I didn't realize the devil was a doctor.
And just like Al's calling you a freak, it's Rachel Kordell.
Look at that freak.
I play Laura Turner, and what did I just do?
You eat dirt like a little freak.
Yeah, probably.
Nom nom nom.
And just like another dirty little freak that I know, it's Seth Coveyou.
Hey, he's frosted and I'm glazed, and together we're fucking creamed. I thought I was going to go after Andrew. Oops.
Oh my god.
If that had any context to the episode, it would be a t-shirt, but it doesn't, so it's not going to be.
After the bone last episode, I don't know.
Oh my god. Bone.
Elmer blew that bone so hard.
He's going to blow it at some point. Oh, what have I done? I've ruined everything.
Y'all nasty. not Nate making also the dick jokes when we were trying to pull it back.
Show you a little recap.
Caught in waveform.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Let's do a little recap,
Save us.
everybody. Last week, two guys fell in a hole and they found love? No, they found a potentially tentacles and a bone to blow. It was certified something down in that hole. Down in that muddy hole.
Speaking of mud, what happened next? Save us.
God, can we use any of that? They fell down, they hurt themselves. Laura crawled down like a certified spider crab. And freaked, everyone out. Mm-hmm. At that same time, Chet saw a figure in the distance that basically said, return the slab. And Vernon easily made his way down. You all ventured onto the Queen Anne's Revenge, Blackbeard's ship, looking for the dead body of Edward Teach. However, you heard a voice ring up from the hull, Parlay. As you discovered quickly that Ed was alive, the original wolf, and discovered that, one, it was his son Augustus, father to James, that trapped him there. And that, two, he is a herald of the god of wolves. You all sought different means, but with a spectacularly timed natural 20, as well as a brilliant use of a skill, or not really use of a skill, just a really good skill to have in that moment. I'm going to tell you right now, you avoided potentially 12 points of damage coming at you.
Yep, that would have been negative.
Six from the initial hit, 6 again from being crushed in a following round.
Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, glad that didn't happen, as your ghostly friend Ruth helped you out, and you all managed to escape, where an argument broke out on the surface over what was needed to be done down there. People having differing opinions, the stress getting to you all, the desperation getting to you all. And Chet, you checked your book, learning to do the ritual, to make the charms in order to do damage to one invulnerable James Theach, when a familiar face was in yours. The apparition of the witch Pearl, staring at you with golden eyes. And I'm going to need you to immediately make a challenge rating 6 intelligence save.
Whew. But don't worry, if you fail, you can die another day. Because diamonds are forever.
Can I make that easier?
Well, for one thing, I'm going to say that this is a GM intrusion.
Oh, nice.
So if you have an experience, you can cancel it if you want, or you can accept the repercussions.
I shall accept. Punish me, Daddy.
Okay, then. So go ahead. So you need to beat an 18. You want to ease that?
Can I ease it by understanding magic?
Yes. You in particular can.
Sweet. I rolled a 17.
Hey, nice.
Wow. You feel this magic in these eyes as they bore into you. You feel the liquid in your brain almost start to boil as magic seeps into you, ancient and old, older than the landscape here and foreign to these lands. Curse magic, familiar yet woven from a different source. But you know the green. You almost know the green better than these witches because you commune with the green. These witches, they steal from the green. So you fend off this curse. And she vanishes in front of you. No one else saw this, only you. Actually, Elmer, roll a perception for me.
Sure.
Challenge rating 3.
Okay. That's a 2, so...
That's a 2. Don't see anything.
Dang.
Hey, get away!
You're right there.
Yeah. I think the witches are trying to curse me.
Oh.
Trying?
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, let's go with trying for now.
All right.
Is there a counter ritual that you can do to stop that?
No, I think we just pray right now.
Elmer, real fast, Elmer, I want to say you almost didn't chip in there because you and Laura were having it out nearby. I imagine the other, it was more Vernon and maybe John who saw Chet like yelp out there and went to check on him. But Elmer and Laura, what is this? How is this devolving right now? This continuation of a fight that's been happening.
I think, Elmer, you just called out Laura for basically this odd action of trying to claim power for probably not the whole party, but definitely herself. And the camera shifts back to that conversation, and you just see like her eyes are welled up with tears, and they're just like streaming down her face in this, like, it's almost like the most clarity you've seen in her eyes, like, since the final kind of transformation happened. It's not really final, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Since the madness set in. And yeah, she's just crying, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
Laura?
Yeah.
Whatever this thing is, this connection that you have to the god of fiddler crabs, you being a herald, all that nonsense that, quite frankly, I seem to have an inability to understand. It's not you, and you need to fight it.
I don't really know how. I mean, look at me. And she gestures to her arms and her mouth and the spots on her back from where the legs erupted earlier. Her clothing probably torn up in spots.
Laura, this is a fight that you've had before, maybe in a different way, but if anybody knows how to fight the strange, it's you.
Yeah. 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 And she kind of starts to go back into that mad laughter, and that clarity, that momentary clarity that you saw gets kind of lost a little bit. She begins to laugh again.
Something we should keep in mind, everybody, is that ain't mud down there. There's something else going on. Ruth saw it too.
What is it?
I don't have a better word for it than beast that we encountered earlier in the bay. I feel like it's here.
What?
Was there any sign of the girl?
The girl?
No, not that I saw in the mud, no.
I wonder if this is where it rests.
I don't know. If it's under the control of Theach, then maybe it's trying to protect him. Maybe he knows that we need a piece of Blackbeard to defeat him. I really don't know, but regardless, it's here.
It's the guard dog.
It could be. I mean, it's been the guard dog of this entire island.
Would make sense.
If you look down into the hole. It's just mud down there. There's no signs of the monster.
Mud and John. I live down here now.
I promise you I saw something down there.
I'm inclined to believe you. Actually, before we go, is anyone holding less than 2 ciphers already?
I got 2 after grabbing this bone here.
Laura reaches into her pocket and fiddles with a card that she has there, which above table is a cipher.
I have 0 ciphers and an artifact.
Are we close to town yet or no?
You are about, I want to say you are a day's walk, like a full day's walk from town, 10 to 15 miles.
Okay.
I do think it might be worth using the oyster at this point. I got a feeling it might tell us a little bit about what's going on in town, perhaps.
All right, if that's the case, John, I want you to hold on to this charm. It should redirect damage given to you back at the person attacking.
Which one is this?
I'll send it over to you. It's the woven charm.
Oh, the woven charm.
Now, Vern likes the exploding one.
I may have an idea in regards to the powder bag, but we have to find the girl first.
What's your idea?
Like the charm, it's intended to be protection more so than outwardly offensive. I think if we give the girl the charm, whenever Theech tries to do something using her powers, it should at least be able to push him back a bit.
The ciphers don't last forever.
No, they don't, but if he tries to use her while we're interacting with them, it at least would help keep her away. And that's one less problem to worry about.
Well, first things first. Chet, what do we need to do with these? And I hold out the tufts of fur.
Well, the book here says we make them into like these little tokens, and then as long as we're holding the tokens, we can attack Theech.
Alright, seems easy enough.
So I guess magic ritual time?
Yeah, no roll needed. You perform the incantation. It feels almost too simple, but there is a nature to these sorts of magics where sometimes great magics like this to overcome insurmountable barriers are as simple as doing a little bit of weaving, a practice that your grandma taught you sitting out on that porch, rifle by her side, reeds in your hands, grasses, as you would weave simple trinkets to hand out to those travelers on those long roads. And each of you now have a token or a trinket of woven wolf fur. And if you press that firmly into the palm of your hand, you may do harm to James Theech. Elmer.
Real quick, you said we had 6 clumps, so we were able to make 1 extra token. I'm gonna give the extra to Elmer.
Okay.
Just in case.
I do have a lot of friends.
Hand it to a ghost.
Or an otter.
Not Stitch.
Elmer, you wanted to use your oyster cipher?
Yeah, so looking at that cipher in particular, this is the Whispering Oyster. Basically, I need to squeeze it tight in my left palm before passing it to the right, then holding it in brackish water for 10 minutes. And it collects the thoughts, secrets, and information about a general area up to about a square mile. So maybe we do this when we're a little bit closer, if it's only a square mile.
Definitely want to do that when you're closer to town.
Yeah. So that's maybe like if we're a day away, maybe like do this like when we rest on the way there.
or do you want to do this within a square mile of town?
Yes.
Okay. We venture forth?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. You venture forth. Arguments had, desperate cries made, visions wrought upon you. I want to know from each of you what you're feeling in a word or a few, be it hope, despair, desperation. And I'm going to just ask you to go one by one in just a few short words as best you can. Elmer.
Worried.
Laura.
Power.
John.
Family.
Vernon.
Longing.
Chet.
I think an unease at being in like another witch's territory.
So unease. As you head off into the marsh yet again, the riverways snake through these lands in a beautiful, chaotic structure that cuts through these marshes, creating shallow riverways. John, do you use the Dead Rise to travel here?
Oh, yeah. That could be something.
Is it?
No.
Is that it? No. Funny. Okay, yeah, you travel on foot. No, and it's a day's travel. You will need to make camp at some point, so you guys will be afforded a rest. It is not a particularly long rest, so I think I would grant you respite up to 1 hour.
Okay.
And keep in mind, you can use them you don't have to use them like one action, then the 10-minute, then the 1 hour. You can use the 1 hour and the 10-minute and reserve the one action for middle of a combat, when it's really needed. Because it is truly a one action response. But I would say you are not able to get a comfortable enough rest, nor a long enough rest for that 10-hour one. You are
That's fair.
Wet, without gear. You're barely able to assemble a place to sleep. You find shelter this time amongst a particularly flattened area of reeds atop some firmer marshland as you all bed down for that night. Waking the following morning, you continue. Laura?
Yeah, I just have a question. We don't have to use the 1 hour and 10-minute. Like if I just use one of them,
You could just use one of them. I would recommend using the 1 hour.
And can I save the 10-minute for later?
You can totally save the 10-minute one.
Cool.
As you all continue walking amongst that marsh, and soon enough you can see buildings in the distance. And it is the first time in days that you are seeing some semblance of society, of humanity, basically. And you've been barely scrounging enough water and food to really keep yourselves going here. You are all partially starved. You are thirsty.
You do have mud.
Sorry.
Laura, you feel compelled in private moments to divulge that nature. And each time those rocks would lacerate your mouth, and you would not draw anything from that but the cuts and bruises that make you bleed. But there is a satisfaction in that as part of something bigger. And each time you would do so, you would hear fiddle music and a boastful god proud of his herald. And as you all are making your way towards this town now, I assume somewhat trying to keep a lower profile. It's a bit hard over this flat plain. Something comes into focus, something up on a pole about 5 feet off the ground. And as you get closer and closer, you see a body about 5 feet off the ground hanging off a pole with a single leg missing from it. And Vernon, you would recognize this person first. Even with a caved-in skull, broken bones, ripped clothes, you would recognize the body of your son, Willie. And as you draw closer, maybe picking up pace, you would see a sign hanging off of it that simply read, "Missing something," with a question mark on the end of it.
I think Elmer is just going to place a hand on Vernon's shoulder and say, "I'm sorry you have to see this, but I talked to his spirit and he's doing all right. Quite jovial still, in fact. I'm sure you know."
I appreciate the gesture, Mr. Fink. Please remove your hand from my shoulder.
He's gonna like hesitantly, like quickly pull back, and just step away and nod.
Thank you. My father worked for Owl as well. When I was small, he always told me not to follow in his footsteps. Like my father, I was stubborn. I didn't listen. Much like me, Willie was stubborn. And when I told him not to follow, he did not listen. He was a good son. Vernon checks to see how many shotgun shells he has in his bag.
Oh, man. Roll a d6.
5.
You've got 5 shells remaining. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like enough, as you really want to put many more into this man.
Then he's going to have to make sure everyone counts. And he will continue to pick up pace and walk towards the town.
Elmer is gonna linger for a second at the body hanging and just place another penny in the pocket before he moves on.
As you all head further into this town, you would see more of these displays, people up on these poles, a warning to not just the outsiders seeking to meddle, but those who are here, a warning of what will happen to you. And many of them are missing limbs, have bite marks. And you all would come across as well the body of Howard Cygnus as well on display, though he is harder to recognize as he is missing his head.
I don't have enough pennies.
I pull a penny out of my pocket and silently hand it to Elmer as I go for the large hunting knife that he keeps strapped to his leg.
How do you know he'd have that?
Howard and I worked together for a very long time. It's a shame that this is how he met his end.
Even without the head, you could tell it was him. Yikes.
Would I know whether or not Howard would have anything else useful on him?
I don't know. Seth, would Howard have anything else useful on him?
Probably not. The cure for cancer, the cure for lupus.
You throw that away, it sinks into the marsh.
The cure for ALS, the cure for
Tentacle grabs that one.
I think he had I think he did have a cipher.
Did you write it down though?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Don't worry, I got you. And it's really fucking funny what it is.
Oh, is this the old Bay?
No, you reach into his pocket and you find. I can't stop. I'm really trying. I'm sorry. We honor the dead. You reach up and you pat down his pockets and you pull out, remarkably, a perfectly preserved piece of Smith Island cake.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Would you like to read out loud what it does? Seth, why don't you read out loud what it does?
Layers of delicious frosting over thin sheets of yellow sponge cake in 13 or more layers. Use. Eat the cake from the edges inward to regain a number of points equal to the cipher level to your might pool.
So is that a whole cake?
It's a slice.
It's a slice of Smith Island cake.
Okay, it doesn't say slice anywhere in the description.
No, but Sky said slice initially.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. Yes, it is a slice of Smith Island cake.
No, but it's just in his pocket.
Like a cartoon character pulled out a whole cake.
It is strange that it is perfectly preserved, and there is a weird humor in this. You pull a slice of cake from a dead man's pocket. But you know that it is magic, and you know that it has use.
I don't know where to begin with that one.
That's
looks like a piece of cake.
Didn't know Howard had such a big sweet tooth. He's always eating apples.
Oh my god.
that's odd.
He ate a lot of apples.
To say the least.
Apples are sweet.
Left the cores everywhere too. Very unsightly.
The rest of the body, maybe you'd think he ate the core.
Seth, Howard also did have 2 light handguns on him. I would say that you guys can find one of those light handguns.
Fully loaded?
Fully loaded.
So 6 shots?
I believe so. You all continue on your way past these warnings. I assume keeping a low profile? Are you boldly walking into town?
Can I keep a low profile?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not so much that it's more keeping a low profile. You are not walking in the open. You are amongst the reeds, amongst whatever brush you can.
Yes.
No.
And like as we are on the outskirts of town now, I would like to use my cipher.
Yes, you find a place to stop. You get everyone to stop. There's a little brackish stream, and you pull out this oyster, and once again, it gasps for air, these tumors cracking along its shell, revealing beautiful pearl of essence and dripping black ichor.
He holds it in his left hand and squeezes it to the point that it snaps shut, no longer able to gasp, before he passes it along to the second. And you can see that ichor all over his left hand. And he squeezes it in the right and then goes to hold it down underneath the brackish water. The ichor mixing with a cut that has now come on his palm. He holds it under the water, and I kind of picture this almost as if it starts whispering quietly where maybe it's only in Elmer's head. Maybe others can get like just the wisps of it, of these secrets and information about the people around here.
Casey, did you read out what this does again?
I certainly can
read it out? What?
Yeah. So for the next 10 minutes, the oyster collects thoughts, secrets, and information about the general area up to a square mile, including any creatures, people, weather, or goings-on. At the end of that time, you can listen to the oyster, gaining the answers to a number of questions equal to the cipher's level, which I do need to roll. The questions must pertain to the area and must be simple enough that an oyster can answer them in no more than 3 words. So I'll roll for the level now. It is a level 2, so we get 2 questions.
2 questions. Yeah, you hold it under. You hear these little whispers trailing out of the water. And I will say you are the only one that can hear them. Though you have a feeling that Ruth can also hear them. And what question do you ask?
Where is James Theach?
You feel this little bit of surge of magic, and the oyster fights against your hand as if you are drowning it, despite it being something that lives under the water. It is something that breathes the same air that you do. And you hear, "By the water."
I'm trying to think of a second question here.
Mine would be, are you serious? It's a fucking island.
Dude, that was my first thought.
You can infer from that it would mean by the harbor space in town, that he would be by the water's edge there. But yes, you are also correct in that it is a frustrating answer from a eldritch creature.
I think my second question would be, how many are with him?
Oh, man.
Can be interpreted in a couple different ways, I guess. Like how many are around him or how many are like
supporting
you simply get back a response. Enough to stop you.
That's 4 words. Sorry, I need a number here.
And with that, the oyster drowns. And you watch as its hinge stays open, water pooling inside. And it feels as if that gentle stream that really had no motion to it suddenly starts to drag and drag as if wanting to rip the oyster from your hand.
I think Elmer will just kind of let it go at that point.
Before you do you want to try and ask another question?
Is that a thing I can do?
Potentially. It might cost you slightly. But you could try and hold the oyster against the current.
I will attempt to hold it then.
A might check, difficulty 4.
Okay. So I have a question about this because this is something that I've had since the beginning, but haven't really had a good use for, which is my endurance. So with
to ask that, you'll have to make another might check.
It's not a casting, though. Endurance is just like I have extra carrying capacity. Like I am just, in general, stronger than most. I'll read out the specific thing. It might not come into play with something like this, but it says any duration dealing with physical actions is either doubled or halved, whichever is better for you.
Yeah, this wouldn't help you.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to use Muscles of Iron again. Spend 2 might, which is reduced to 1 to ease this down.
Okay.
So that goes from a difficulty, what was it, 5?
4.
4 down to 3.
Okay.
That is a 14. So that is a success.
You managed to hold onto the oyster, that current dragging it away. You are not done. with this. What is your question?
Does he know we're coming?
He knows you. Do you keep a hold of the oyster?
Yes, I will hold on one more time. And again, this is going to be reduced from Muscles of Iron because that lasts for 10
Difficulty
minutes.
6 this time.
It's fine. So it's reduced down to 5.
A 5.
So 15 or higher. Do I have anything else that I can use here?
Can I use an experience to lower the effort?
Can you use experience that way? They can re-roll using experience.
Okay. That's not bad.
So I don't know if you can give it to another player though.
I mean, I have experience too. I have 3 total experience. So, I mean, if I need to re-roll, I can spend that if I need to. But instead, what I might do is use Ruth here and manifest her, spending 3 intellect points, reduced down to 2, to manifest her physically so she can help me on this.
Okay, it'll ease the roll again by 1, so now it is a difficulty 4 for you.
That is a 16.
Amazing. The current is whipping at your arms now as a ghostly hand reaches in and grasps around your palm, fighting against that current. The oyster wants to be free, but bids your call once again and answers another question.
Where can we find allies in town?
That's a good one. That's a really good one. You get a response back in the form of a number. 143.
I think with that, Elmer is trying to hold on for more questions, but it slips through his fingers, slicing his hand along the way.
It does slice your hand, but not as badly as it could have been if you continued to hold on. Because above the table, that damage was compounding every time you held on to it.
Hmm.
And for a third time would have been rather bad for you. But you've gotten some information here. 143.
At this point, maybe everybody even saw the ghostly apparition of Ruth behind Elmer, just holding this oyster down underneath the water before she disappears again back into the piece of honeycomb. And he turns to them and says, "All right, well, I know a little bit more about what's going on. Seems like Theach knows we're coming. He's over by the docks, and we might have allies at 143.
Allies?
People against Theach.
Last time we saw Theach at the dock, he had a giant sea monster kill half of us.
What we can do is go to these allies first, maybe draw them to us. Draw them away from the docks."
I have a question for you. Who's that figure that appeared next to you?
He looks next to himself. I was telling you about her.
That's what I thought. She found you.
Yeah, she did.
Then maybe we have some luck on our side.
I think Elmer was, happy that Laura recognized that, but hearing that laugh just whatever hint of a smile was on his face just dissipates.
So 143?
Yeah. 143.
So, 143, what do you think that means?
My thought on that is like it's a house number or something.
Yeah.
And you would be dead on as you head into town and you immediately see numbers on a few of these houses, these disheveled, broken homes on the edge of town that are hollowed out, some of them having been abandoned for years. And an interesting thing in these marshes is that when these houses are emptied and abandoned and the doors left open, the wind ripping through them, where in a desert you might get a drift of sand, here you get drifts of dead reeds, holding them open as if inviting anyone to come inside and see what was once there. And as you walk along, you see the house numbers. 158, 156, the opposite side, the odds. You go down further and further. Not staying on the main road, but in the backyards. Hopping a fence when you need to, but these houses are abandoned, broken. On one of them, you see a massive blood stain arcing across the back of a wall. And you arrive at 143. And you see that there is a light on inside, and you are around back of the home. It is a small house, single story, tapered roof, on stilts slightly for when it floods, a few windows, and you hear someone chattering inside before it goes silent. You all are around back. What do you all do?
I see a two-headed cow with a bandana on. With a submachine gun.
You son of a bitch.
I'm in.
I think I silently rap on the door frame.
What?
Silently?
How do you do that?
Does anybody else
No,
go
no,
with
how do-
Vernon? Or is Vernon
Yes.
going?
Hold on.
Elmer
Let's
is-
unpack that.
Elmer's
How do
gonna-
you silently rap on the door frame?
That's not
See, what I
silent.
heard was noise.
Well, I don't
Gently.
like bam, bam, bam.
Gently
I like
rap
it's
on
like
the
a
door.
Lightly.
small.
Gently.
Oh, well, I
Just
I
retake
understood
that.
what you meant.
Just
I
I
retake it.
gently rap on the door frame.
The voices hush down, and you hear some things happen in the house hurriedly. It sounds like a hat shutting, something being thrown, and then you hear Vernon. You would definitely recognize this right away. John, maybe. I mean, you lived the waterman in the hunting life. You'd hear the click of a hammer on a revolver as the door flies open. And a woman with pale skin and wild eyes, freckles lanced across her face, brown hair that has been cut short. She is missing an ear on the left side of her head, as well as there is a heavy, bloodied bandage around one of her legs. And she looks at you wild-eyed and just simply says, "Who the fuck are you?" As a revolver is pointed at your forehead.
I think Laura is standing in the back of the group,
Yeah.
like not towards the front.
Her eyes are locked on Vernon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, miss. We mean you no harm. In fact, I believe we have a mutual problem.
Who the fuck are you all?
My name is Vernon Hodges. This behind me is Elmer. Actually, hold on. Does she look witchy?
She does not.
Okay. My name is
Oh, we
Vernon.
learned.
Good
we learned
question.
the main thing.
This behind me is Elmer Fink, Chet of the Green, Miss Laura Turner, and this is John Douglas. Again, we mean you no harm.
She looks at you wild-eyed. And then her vision seems to linger on Elmer, Laura, and Chet. And you see there's a glimmer of recognition from her. You all. I saw you all dragged into that water. Get inside, now, get inside, quick. And she points inside, and you all, I assume, go inside?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You watch as she takes a step out of the door, looks left and right, and then grabs something from the door frame, a black candle with a woven pentacle hanging from it, a pentagram surrounded by a circle. And there seems to be some sort of fur mixed in there, and she lights the candle, sets it on the outside of the window frame that is next to the door. And she looks at you all kind of looking inquisitively, and she's just like, to ward off the smell, they'll smell you. But with that, they won't be able to smell you. They'll know I've lit it. So come on, quick, come on. She leads you through the house. It is a basically open room to a kitchen area where there is a counter in the center of the room. On the opposite side, holding a rather large cleaver in one hand because she is missing her other arm, is a slightly shorter, round at the waist, dark skin with a bundle of dreads up in a bloodied and stained bandana with claw marks that are raked across her face, is a wild-eyed woman. One woman walks around. She looks at all of you. I'm Ruth. This is Jesse.
Upon the mention of Ruth, I definitely look over at Elmer.
I can't believe you're all alive.
Quite frankly, neither can we.
I, barely.
Why? I'm sorry if this is rude, but why the fuck did you come here?
We want to kill Theach.
That's not why I came here.
John, you chime in. They look wide-eyed at all of you. A little, I think Jesse kind of raises an eyebrow at you, John, but she doesn't say anything. And Ruth says, "There's no killing that man. We've seen him take mortal wounds, and he simply comes back to kill again and again and feast upon us. We're just cattle to him."
Well, we come bearing the power to change that.
You have a way to kill him?
We have the way.
They look at each other, and you almost see a sprinkle of hope in their eyes as they look upon their potential saviors. Jesse, without another word, Ruth kind of goes to stop her a little bit, and Jesse just kind of shakes off the arm, looking at her, not saying a word, but just simply gives her a look before walking over to a carpet that's on the floor, throwing it back and revealing a hatch. Opening the hatch, it leads down into a basement, where she goes down, gesturing for you guys to follow.
We do, or at least I do.
Good. I do.
You go down and you hear at first murmurs and then slight yelps of fear as strangers are led down and a candle is lit, revealing a dark basement of scared faces. Maybe a dozen or two people frightened out of their minds as they gaze up at you. Some missing limbs, all of them bearing scars. And at the very center of them, you would recognize a very familiar face. One that you were sent here looking for. Of Marcus Long, the congressman's son.
Who?
looking vacant. And that is where we will end our session.
Oh, boy.
Oh man, but we found him.
We found him.
Revolution!
So anyway, let's move on to plugs here.
Oh my
Special guest, Nate Popcorn.
What's up, Internet? I am Nate. If you enjoyed me being Chet, well, thanks. You can check out more of me on Escape the Dungeon podcast on a bunch of different Twitch channels. I don't know what I'll be on by the time this releases. So, Popcorn, Rachel.
Ooh. Yeah, my plugs. Go check out Heart is a Dungeon podcast again, The House in the Light. If you haven't listened to it already, please check it out. It's a beautiful audio drama that I was very fortunate to take a part of. Of course, once again, Pleasure and West River. I just got it. They're coming close to the end, if not have already ended it, which means you have a lot of catching up to do. Folk and Myth over on Twitch, Majora's Rose over on Twitch, Rachel Kordell on all social medias. Come follow me and say hi. Thanks. Popcorn. Casey.
Yeah, live show. Yeah, we have a live show at Sip and Play in Brooklyn on July 29th at 7 p.m. Be there, be square. Link for tickets down in the description, or you can buy them at the door. Either way. Also, go ahead and check out our website, rpjesters.com, where we have a bunch of fun merch. And maybe there will be merch for the thing that we said during this episode that I wrote down.
Certified Spider Crab?
Certified Spider Crab.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a pretty great shirt.
I want that t-shirt. Yep, it's going to be there because I want it.
And also check out our Patreon, where you can support us directly and get a bunch of extra bonus content. Popcorn to Andrew.
I was gonna plug the Patreon.
I'm sorry. You want to plug it again?
I don't know what to do with myself now.
Fight him for it.
Now there's a void that I don't know how to fill.
Have you been taking enough supplements?
I'll fill your voids.
You know what? Maybe some supplements would help. What do you think? Like B12, iron?
I'm thinking some Homie and the Dude.
That's right, Homie and the Dude! Everyone's favorite father-son-led TTRPG team. Giving you some spicy supplemental goodness to make any of your RPGs good, because they're system agnostic. You can throw them in anywhere you want, baby. We can make it work. We can make it happen. Hey, yo, Copernicus, we're walking here. We're talking here. If you go to hatdbuilder.com, you can see all their cool stuff. You want to build some cool Zeppelins? You can go build some cool Zeppelins. You want to go hop on a wandering tavern or a house moving castle? Go do it. Go do it. Make it work. Make it happen. Oh, and then we can't even forget the Scorched Basin, because I want more Mad Max things in everything I play, and I'm sure you do as well. So go give them a look, and if you buy any of their goodies, type in code RPJestas. I'm not gonna lie to you, 20% off. I know, crazy, 20% for little old us? No, that's 20% off for little old you. Now you're the big man on campus. Look at you go. And when you do that, we get a little something too. Everyone's happy. Homie and the Dude are happy. You're happy. I'm happy. Casey's happy.
I'm very happy.
And you want to make that boy not happy? Come on, look at that. Look at those eyes.
More holes for the closet.
Beautiful little eyes.
I can't see his eyes. It's a podcast.
More holes for the closet, please.
We can afford to buy a drill. If you use code RPJestas, we will use the proceeds to buy a drill to add more air holes to Casey's closet.
What'd you do with the old drill?
It broke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, what's going on, Seth?
Hush.